Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So in today's video, as you can tell by the title, we will be talking about this winter storm. It is definitely beginning to really show its strength. I will be showing you some of the snowfall totals that have fallen already. Again, they're pretty preliminary. They're just coming in, but they are already impressive. Aside from snow, there is also severe weather threat, and actually the Storm Prediction Center has issued a moderate risk for severe weather, which is a 4 out of the 5. That is a pretty significant threat. So I will quickly show that, but really that just kind of shows the strength of the system on the severe weather side, and of course on the snowy side as well. So a lot of stuff to talk about, but definitely a interesting situation unfolding across the United States right now. Before we get into this, I would want to say that if you do enjoy this channel, or if you don't know yet, obviously consider checking out the channel, watch the video. If you do happen to like it, consider subscribing. Obviously don't do that just because I told you so. And if you actually do enjoy it, hitting the like button also helps out a ton. And if you have any comments or concerns, always feel free to leave them down below. First off, let's take a look at the Storm Prediction Center. So this is for the severe weather threat. Notice a moderate risk of severe thunderstorms is forecast for today and tonight. Again, it's mainly for this little area, if you will, across extreme northwestern Oklahoma and southwestern Kansas, and really this tiny area, the panhandle, and you can see it's empty as of now. Or I should say it's really dry there for now. Let's go over here. There are a few storms starting to fire up, but it's still a bit away from when it's going to occur. So you can see the largest cities are Garden City, Dodge City, and Liberal, Kansas. They aren't giant cities, but they are pretty big. And then we have really large cities like Wichita and Salina. These are in the hands, which is still a pretty big risk, and a slight as well includes even more big cities. So the biggest threat, let's take a look at this. Let me go back, click on this moderate, and click on categorical. Tornado, you can see it's definitely there. You know, it's not off the charts, but it's pretty significant, especially for October. So tornadoes are obviously a very severe thing, right? If one occurs that's even weak, it's you're gonna know you got hit by a tornado regardless. If it's big or strong, you'd hope that it's weak, and you can see that the threat for that it's definitely there. Winds, they are there. It's not off the charts. We've seen worse events, but they are most definitely there, and you can see it's a pretty large area. The tornadoes are a bit smaller. And then a hail, also pretty large area. It is a bit before the wind, if you will, in terms of it's further towards the south and west, the hail threat, than the wind threat, but really just mainly overlapping each other. And yes, it includes pretty large cities, even the moderate, if you will, threat of Oklahoma City, Wichita. I shouldn't say moderate because I meant to say the mod is kind of the slightly lower threat, because moderate is an actual rating, so I don't want to use that word. But you could see that even if you live in this brown, oh, I would live in Kansas City, I shouldn't be impacted. You could still see some nasty storms, so it's really better to be safe than sorry, and just stay watchful and be prepared. Again, as of now, we do have a tornado watch for a large area into Kansas, Oklahoma, the panhandle of Texas and Oklahoma, and again, no really tornado warnings yet as far as I'm concerned. There may be a few in the next there is one from that little cell that we saw, and let's just take a look at it, because why not? Okay, so radar indicated rotation, so it isn't confirmed, but you don't want to be the one confirming that, right, if you're in a tornado warning. So just seek shelter and stay put. And ping pong ball sail, which is large, very large. So that just goes to show you the strength of these storms. And of course, on the snowy side, look at all these winter storm warnings, advisories, all the way into in North Dakota. If you recall, the last few days there has been a trend to show more of the snow. So again, this isn't just a mountain system, right? It's bringing snow into well out into the plains. And you can see Bowman right there, extreme western North Dakota. We'll be seeing some snow, in fact, quite a bit, 3 to 7, 1 to 3, potentially up to 10, most likely kind of in that 6 to 10 inch range. And we do, again, have quite a bit further towards the south into Wyoming. You can see Rapid City is in winter weather advisory. Not supposed to get a ton, apparently, as they are in a winter weather advisory. However, you can see right there, this afternoon into tonight, there is look at that, 6 to 10 inches on Wednesday. Okay, well, I guess they are supposed to see a lot. I don't know why they are in a winter weather advisory. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong city, but yep, that's a lot of snow. So I was assuming that in the Black Hills would be the heaviest of the heaviest, not into Rapid City, but apparently into the Black Hills. Obviously, there will be heavy, but it's just going to be even heavier than what we just saw right there. So again, not just a mountain snow, nothing unusual, I would say, for this, for these areas. There's been a snowstorm before in October, especially in the last few years. There's been usually in this time frame the first snowstorm has been occurring, but again, it's not pleasant to see our first giant winter storm, especially when there's still crops around and whatnot. So that is unfortunate. I want to take a look now quickly at the snowfall totals that I promised to show you. Okay, so I love looking at these maps during the winter. It's awesome kind of seeing the snowfall reports coming in, and you can see that obviously, yes, they are obviously not fully yet processed, if you will, but notice there is quite a bit of snowfall reports that are very high, and obviously you could see the highest 28, 22. Those are pretty good amounts into southwestern right there. In Montana, obviously these are probably the mountainous areas, but we are starting to pick up some decent amounts of snow. You can see right there, 6 inches, more kind of the plains, if you will, of Wyoming, kind of the intermountain areas, but obviously in the highest areas we already have up to 20 inches in some areas, like the 11, 15, 10. Yellowstone did pick up some snow out of this, but again, it is pretty varying throughout the park. Idaho Falls, 8 inches right there, 6.5 depending on where exactly. And there was some decent snow into Arizona, obviously more limited to the higher elevations. And now we are beginning to see the snows right there. Downtown Rapid City, 2.8 inches of snow. So definitely it's starting to show 6 inches right there, and it's just beginning really. So a lot more way to go. Billings, large city in Montana, you can see 2 to 5 inches has fallen. So it's already ongoing, and as I mentioned, you can see all these warnings and advisories. There's that severe weather threat beginning to show. Let me remove all of these warnings and show you a better, clearer picture of what's going on. So notice again, we are still starting to see that snow in we're still seeing snow in Colorado and southern Wyoming, but it's mainly going to be winding down, especially towards the further south and west you go. But you could see all this precipitation streaming to the north, and where it's cold enough around Black Hills and into Rapid City, it is snowing quite heavily, and you can see that this quite a bit of that will be producing obviously that snow. You can see Billings still seeing some snow. Again, decent rain obviously on the rainy side, and we're still yet to see this full formation of this kind of blizzard, potentially backside comma shaped of the snowstorm. So this is just the beginning, and yes, we are starting to see that explosion of potentially severe weather. So yes, I did go over already a lot of what's going on and whatnot, but I mean, why look at the models only if we have a lot of it already in front of our faces, right? The models are usually what we look at once or before we even have that system occurring. This is what the GFS shows, however, 7 p.m. That's what it has. This is what it looks like. Again, I would say it's doing a pretty good job. And into 1 a.m., 7 a.m. tomorrow, you can see where it intensifies that snow. Northeastern Wyoming, the Dakotas into North Dakota, it really intensifies that system. And that's when it will probably be at its peak in terms of heavy snowfall rates, 989. That's strong circulation, probably some isolated blizzard conditions again. But again, that's severe weather threat is definitely going to peak today from really anywhere from right now all the way into the early overnight hours. So stay safe, folks. It's definitely looking like a concern. And look, that system does weaken as it spreads snow into Saskatchewan and potentially even Manitoba. But if you did notice, there were some flash flood watches across much of Texas, and that is impacting large cities. And the reason to do with that is, well, obviously it's rain from this system, but also in as you quickly saw from the GFS, look, it drags up the remnants of this pretty strong hurricane. And what that does is, well, it brings heavy rain for the next several days across Texas, and that could cause some major flooding. So that's definitely why that's there, and I think it's well warranted. So stay prepared for that as well. Notice that does stream to the north, obviously weakened, but definitely there. And it does intensify into a larger system as it hits the northeast. I do want to say, though, that after this, the pattern looks quiet. So if and it also warm for the areas that got hit by that snow. So if you are unfortunate to see a lot of snow and it's, you don't want it, hopefully, it will be gone relatively quickly because it's warm and there really isn't going to be much precipitation. Actually, quite a boring weather pattern. But again, boring is relative, I guess. So notice that there again, as I mentioned, it will be rather warm. I want to take a look at some of those total precip amounts just to hour 84 from this system alone. You can see quite a bit across the Midwest, across Texas, where that they have that flash flood watch. Right there across the Dakotas, quite a bit. A lot of that will be falling as snow, so that is has its pluses and minuses. Probably won't cause flooding when it melts or when it comes down. As rain, it could have caused a lot of flooding, but it also could slow down harvests and whatnot is occurring at this time of the year. And but you can see quite a bit of snow. The GFS shows quite a bit, up to a foot and a half, and some amounts even across the Black Hills, especially well over 2 feet of snow is probably going to occur, especially with the amounts of snow we're already seeing. Canadian, it does a very similar thing. It shows more snow into Montana, more snow into the Dakotas, and look, it shows the heaviest not even in the Black Hills. It shows that into northern South Dakota, northwestern South Dakota, and southwestern North Dakota. A lot of north and south there. So I apologize for a little stuttering there, but yeah, it definitely has a bit of a colder scenario, and I don't know if this will occur. And even if this does, I don't think it will be such heavy amounts this far kind of away from really the mountains or the Black Hills, but it's a possibility, and again shows the strength of the system. And once it does intensify, it really weakens quickly, right? But again, it still does drag up that precipitation across Texas and whatnot, and does develop into a decent sized system, but it too shows a relatively boring pattern, if you will, kind of tranquil, with these spinning low pressures that are very large, but nothing extreme. European model, very good model. It is a long range model, so again, I don't really like looking at many long range models when it's already this far out the system, meaning very close. But nonetheless, you can see there's our explosion of precip. That snow is most definitely continuing. This is at 1 a.m. today, so again, you can see the severe weather threat, more of an overnight thing, and it's definitely not over. It's just about to begin as I'm recording this. Look what the European does. I mean, truly develops a stunning system at 990, probably stronger than what the other two models are showing in terms of that snow band and how strong those winds could be. Very strong thunderstorms on the warm side of this, and it does drag that snow up into North Dakota, South Dakota, and it finally weakens it. You could see across Texas, we do see that heavy rain threat, and that does spread into portions of the eastern United States, so that's definitely something to watch if you're watching from the eastern United States. There hasn't been much said about you guys from my channel in the last few days because of all the activity that's been occurring across the West, but you can see right there, that's quite a bit of rain coming towards the end of the week and into the weekend towards you, and it will be affecting pretty much everyone. No snow, but quite a bit of rain potentially for some, and even some severe weather. And the European 2 shows a rather tranquil pattern with maybe some sort of storm occurring later on, but again, no signs of snow, just a very almost a summer-like system in late October. So truly stunning this pattern can be. So again, it's kind of interesting that we're seeing the snowstorm. Honestly, I don't think there's even enough cold air for it to occur, but obviously there is, since it is occurring, but it's very marginal. Severe, you can see the rain, obviously from this system. It's quite a bit across the Dakota, centering across South Dakota from this model, and you can see that there still are some differences between the models, but again, it is at this point rather, unnecessary to point out the differences, because whatever they are, it's still going to be a giant snowstorm, and only some areas will get impacted by the kind of differences. And you can see this one agrees more with what the GFS shows, the European. Very heavy snow, just it doesn't show like the Canadian did across the heaviest axis across extreme northwestern South Dakota and extreme southwestern North Dakota, and you can see the Black Hills right there, 37 inches. My goodness, it's hard to believe that may happen, but it's definitely a possibility. This one also shows some decent snow for cities like Cheyenne, even 5-6 inches, which the National Weather Service is going with around 1 to 3 for those. For the capital of Wyoming, I do want to say that I want to show you some of the high-res models, meaning the HER model. It is a very short-range model, 18 hours. Let's take a look at it, but I think it does a great job. Look at that severe weather across Oklahoma. Right now, there's nothing, 6, 7, but look what happens right there into 10, 11, 1 a.m. We see a explosion right there into portions of eastern Oklahoma. We see quite a bit of severe weather, and again, I'm thinking this weather model is honestly underdoing this, and even as this pushes north, you can see some of those storms. Very heavy rain spills into Iowa, Minnesota and into potentially again eastern Nebraska. So a lot of this severe weather in Texas, just seeing very heavy rain. And look at the snowy side of it, right? We see that snow pivoting and eventually developing into this strong comma shape. Very strong winds. You can see much of South Dakota, or sorry, much of Wyoming, especially eastern Wyoming, southwestern Montana, western North Dakota, and western South Dakota, seeing that extremely heavy snow. And this just takes us through 11 tomorrow in the morning. Not completely done with the snow, but it already shows us pretty sizable amounts of snow. And you can see some of these are again well over a foot across even the plains. So let's take a look at another high res. This is the NAM. It's pretty good model, I would say. You can see it shows decent amounts. I would say pretty darn heavy, and I would say that's again pretty feasible. FV3, it's mainly used for severe weather. I just show for the snow anyways. It doesn't show a lot towards the north, but it really shows a lot across the Black Hills. Potentially a scenario, but again, based on what I'm seeing already on the radar, it seems as if the snow will have really no problem occurring across these areas. So this model probably is overestimating the Black Hills and underestimating other areas to the north. RGM, high-res Canadian, you can see it shows what that Canadian model showed, which showed that really heavy axis. This one kind of mimics it just to a more sensible degree, if you will. But definitely, nonetheless, it's definitely a significant snow accumulation event, and that does drag it up all the way into central Manitoba. Sorry, Saskatchewan. I've been calling that, I think, Manitoba, which that is my apologies. And HRDPS, definitely a good model, and you can see it shows very heavy snow amounts. Kind of straddling the border between Montana, North Dakota, and South Dakota. MSL Precip. Let's just play this scenario out because it looks interesting based on the snowfall amounts. And look right there. Boom, you see that heavy snow band developing, passing through. But really, what it does is, again, into the overnight hours, it develops into this extremely heavy snow. And right there, it's just pummeling those areas. It does like eventually move away, but even just a few hours of that extremely heavy snow leads to quite a event. And this model did show those very in terms of rain, that would be also a lot, but in terms of snow, it shows quite a bit. So we'll have to wait and see, folks. There's quite a bit to, again, talk about, but only so much I could cover in one video. Stay safe. Stay tuned to your local National Weather Service office, especially for severe weather across the northern areas. Stay safe. Stay warm. Again, drive safely if you have to. Really don't otherwise, especially if you live in that heaviest of axis of snow. And yes, the winter, regardless of what pattern we are in right now and what's afterwards, it's going to be coming. And you can see that even areas that don't see snow are going to be seeing frost and hard freeze warnings they have up for that. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all on the next episode. Look how cold that will be almost every single night. Wow. All right. Stay safe, guys. See ya. Bye.